You've probably uploaded videos consistently for the last couple of months, maybe even more. You probably copied ideas that went viral because if it worked for others, it has to work for you too, right? Maybe you even changed your editing style, different pacing, more animations, less AI, and you think that after all this head start, you'll actually start getting consistently, 10, 20, 50K views on your videos, but you're still stuck under 1,000 views. So there has to be one missing piece, because how can others make it look so effortless while you're out here breaking your back for 800 views? Well, if you think that working harder or putting in more effort is what's gonna make you a millionaire in 2026, you are being left behind as we speak, because most faceless YouTube channels don't fail because of the lack of effort. Most of the time, they're the ones putting in the most amount of work, actually. They fail because they're looking for ideas in the wrong place. And while once in a while you might get lucky, they cannot get consistent results and just become more and more confused. Today, I'm going to show you the new way that successful YouTube automation channels use to actually come up with ideas in 2026, why most people will never crack them, and how you can start generating better ideas on demand instead of just guessing and hoping. A lot of channels are using this process right now, so you need to go ahead and apply everything I'm showing in this video as quickly as you can. So let's talk about why the real reason YouTube automation channels stall. Now, most people think that they're stuck because the niche that they're in is saturated. The algorithm hates them but loves every other channel in the same niche. The RPM is crap and that's why they barely get paid. Or the competition is too high and everyone else seems to be getting views without putting in an ounce of work, while they're being left behind wondering what direction do they need to take. And most of the time, what the average person will do is respond by switching niches, because new niches are going to make you more money, or over editing to keep the people entertained, or uploading more often so that YouTube has to show their videos to more people. But then none of these actually end up working. They end up blaming the algorithm, thinking that if they could just have one viral video, everything would fall into place. But the issue is always the same, right? They're always inventing ideas out of thin air instead of extracting. They sit down trying their absolute hardest to think of a viral video and end up coming up with another okay idea, or they just recycle generic topics that feel safe but don't actually have demand. Viral channels don't do that. They don't even need to sit down and think about ideas. They position themselves where ideas already exist. And by doing so, they get new video ideas constantly. So here's what you'll notice if you study faceless YouTube automation channels that constantly pull in views. They rarely upload random one-off videos. They don't chase every trend that's popping off in their niche, and they almost never rely on originality because they understand that making attention is more important than originality. Instead, they latch on to topics that already have attention but don't just copy them. They repackage them for a specific type of viewer, meaning their ideas don't necessarily have to come from their own niche, and they build series, not singles. Think about faceless channels in finance, or documentaries, AI, luxury, psychology, history, literally any other niche. They're not inventing new subjects. They can't. At a certain point, all the subjects they can talk about have to end, so they have to find new ways or another way that they can create that video by finding angles inside those subjects that people are already obsessing over. For example, the channel Kings and Generals. They had a video called, "Is Ridley Scott's Napoleon History Accurate?" They know a lot of people have already talked about Napoleon, his history, the life, death, invasions, wins, losses, etc. So he goes deeper and analyzes Ridley Scott's Napoleon. And it's not just him. Most channels are doing this. Take Business Insider, for example. The video that they posted, "Inside the Dubai Chocolate Boom and the Factory's Race to Keep Up." They take a massive subject, which people are already obsessed about, and then they find a more niche or smaller subject that they can make videos about, and then make them sound new and original, when in reality, they aren't. That's the shift you need to make. This is the core idea. You don't need to brainstorm ideas. You need to harvest them. Because while coming up with ideas may seem great and all, you need to understand that a lot of recent ideas haven't really been new or original. They're just a sum of other ideas put into one. Take the first iPhone, for example. Steve Jobs simply took what normal phones could do, added the features of an MP3 player, added already existing features into it, and created an iPhone. And then he marketed it as something new, when in reality, it was just a bunch of ideas put together into one. So how do we do the same for our videos? Well, you need to start where attention already lives. And the fastest way to fail is by asking, what video should I make? Most beginners sit down once in a while and start searching for ideas, but that just leads to them wasting their time or ending up with a mediocre idea at best. And once their videos flop, they think they have to improve something about their videos. And once they do, it still flops. and they end up confused and thinking that they're just not meant for this business, and they quit. But the mistake that they're making isn't the editing. It's not the scripting. It's not the videos. It's actually what they're doing during their day. Again, let's take the iPhone example from before. Do you think Steve Jobs just sat down and thought about the entire idea of the iPhone all of a sudden? The answer is clearly no. He noticed that people love the MP3 and they love to be able to call their friends from home. And he thought, why don't I just put them together? And you should do the same, right? You should put yourself in situations where ideas just come up easily. For example, if you're in the business niche, you should be watching podcasts from people like Alex Hormozi, reading books about business, and so on. If you're in the history niche, you should be reading history books, watching documentaries, learning more about history. You should be surrounding yourself with your own niche so that you don't need to think about ideas, they'll just automatically come to you. But since I don't want you to just start learning anything without proper intention, I want you to replace the what video should I make question with what are people already watching repeatedly. Look at channels in your niche that post faces content. Sort by most popular. Make sure you ignore the most popular video because most of the time that one's just like a fluke. Focus on videos ranked between 2 to 20 since those are the most likely to have an actual strategy and real thought behind them. For example, a faceless documentary channel doesn't go viral from one video. It goes viral because the same type of video works again and again. After you understand what people watch repeatedly, go ahead and pick a subject that you're really interested in and start surrounding yourself with anything related to that subject. This way, you're going to become a magnet for ideas and you can stop thinking and get great ideas. The second thing is that you need to extract the pattern, not the video. Most people copy the title and topic, and that's why they fail. But what you should do is study each and every channel, not just the videos, the entire channel. You'll start to notice that most of these faceless channels use the same ideas. They just shape them differently so that they seem completely new. This is because they found their bucket, which is why they keep making videos on the same idea and topic. So instead of just copying thumbnails and titles, go ahead and ask, what question is this video answering? What curiosity gap does it open? What promise is being made? Take this video, for example, from the infographics show. What if you never slept day by day? Instead of just copying the title and thumbnail, start asking yourself, what is this video answering? In this case, it's very easy. It's meant to literally answer the question, what would happen if I stopped sleeping for a while? And then they take it up a notch by saying, what would happen if I never slept? And the best part to make this as entertaining as possible is that they don't skip days. They don't just tell you week by week. They literally tell you day by day, day 1, day 2, day 3, and so on. And they explain what happens in depth day by day, right? So I actually want you to try and write down every single idea that comes to your mind whenever you're watching these videos or whenever you're breaking them down. No matter how good or bad they may seem, write the ideas down and over time, you'll get better. But from there, you can turn one idea into 10 variations, right? So now that you have a bunch of ideas written down, you need to understand that winning channels don't hunt endlessly for new ideas. They multiply what's already working. This is why most faceless channels have a bunch of videos about the same topics because they go in depth about different parts of that topic and manage to phrase it well enough so that it looks like a brand new video. If one video performs, ask yourself, can this be updated with new information? For example, like if your channel is about AI, and a couple of months ago you made a video about the newest GPT that will destroy every other AI. Could you make another one similar to that? Since in the meanwhile, there's obviously a bunch of new AIs that have been created. Also ask yourself if it can be reversed. For example, the infographics video from before, you can make a title called, what would happen if you slept 20 hours per day? And go in depth about that. This is literally a brand new idea and you could already get it from an existing viral video. Or even asking yourself if you can be more extreme. For example, take this video from Yellow Dude. I jump rope for every day for 30 days as a total beginner. And here's what happened. You could create a similar video where you jump rope for an entire year instead of 30 days. Or you can go ahead and make another one where it's like, I did 100 push-ups for 30 days and documented the results. From one single idea, you can get dozens of other ideas, no matter how bad one may seem. If you keep on digging, you'll find one that you like and that video will work. One idea can maybe even become a series, or maybe where you actually explain different smaller portions of a bigger chapter. For example, if you're in a math niche, you could explain how to do integrals in different situations, going from the most general and easy ones to the hardest ones in the latest episodes. If a topic isn't big enough, you could make a sequel by dividing your video into 2 parts and redirecting them from first part to the second part and vice versa. This is how channels upload constantly without burning out. They don't create infinite ideas out of nothing. They get infinite ideas from one original idea. Now, it's also important to validate ideas before you go ahead and upload, because this is where you stop guessing. Before uploading, ask yourself, has this topic already had proven attention? If the answer is yes, move on. If not, go back to the first step and do it again. Also identify if your angle is clear and more specific than the original. If it's not, then you literally just copied someone and it's not going to work. So review your angle and either be clearer or more specific than the original topic. And lastly, does the title make a promise the viewer would actually care about? Once again, if the answer is no, why are you even making the video? Go back to step one. But if yes, then you can move your video to scripting and editing. Now, lastly, I want you to use AI to try and find more ideas significantly faster. Now, this is what's going to make the entire process 10 times faster and easier for you. I want you to take the ideas and the angles that you found. I want you to throw them into ChatGPT or Claude or any other reliable AI that you use. And I want you to write this exact prompt. I am a faceless YouTube channel in the insert your niche, and I have found this idea for my video, and then go ahead, paste that video topic in. I want you to give me 10 to 15 iterations and different angles from this idea, but they need to either be more specific, clear, or relate to a different topic in some way. Now, the AI is going to go ahead and give you some iterations. You simply just pick the one that you prefer, and then go ahead and tell it again to create 10 more iterations about that idea. This way, you'll already have literally 20 angles in seconds. And to make this even better, you can go ahead and take those iterations and come up with more ideas and angles of your own, starting off with those. Now, if you actually want to see how this plays out in real time, I created a free school community full of people sharing ideas, wins, and examples as they happen. The link is below if you want to join. In there, you'll see how once ideas stop being the bottleneck, the entire game changes. Also, if you're unsure about what AIs you should be using for YouTube automation, I made a video covering every single AI that you should use for YouTube automation since I tried them all, and you can go ahead and watch the video over here. I promise you it's going to help you out. I'll see you in the next one.